Hello, Home Slices. It's Kiara with Home Slice Adulting coming to you with a little spontaneous live video about the new TV series on AMC called Dietland. Now, before we get started on some of my thoughts or whatever, I want to say thank you for those of you who have clicked on this video and who have decided to watch it. Thank you so very much. To my subscribers, thank you for coming back. To those of you who are not subscribed but are thinking about it, you should definitely hit that subscribe button. But most importantly, you need to hit that notification bell so that when I post videos or when I go live, you all know when that happens and you can keep up with what's going on my channel. Now, you all know, for those of you who have watched my videos before or anything along those lines, that I am definitely natural. And this is a wash and go. You all, I haven't done a wash and go in so many moons. And so now that my hair is a lot longer, I'm trying to crack the code on doing wash and goes. This one came out okay, but I may need to try some new products or new methods. So once I get my wash and go method perfected, you all will definitely be getting a video on that. But in the meantime, let's kind of get into Dietland a little bit. Let me know what your thoughts are. If you have read the book. I have not read the book. That's something I need to let you guys know right away. I have not read the book. I feel as if the TV show only kind of makes me want to read the book, like just a little bit. The show is so odd that I don't know if I'll be able to keep up with the book. I'm not really sure. But for those of you who are interested in watching the show, just a little bit of a summary. The show is targeting and talking about all of the taboo kind of topics that involved feminism and women's rights and things along those lines. So right away, it's already kind of revolutionary. Apparently, there is an organization or a person called Jennifer who has taken upon itself the duty of torturing and killing against women or who are sexual predators, and they're basically stating their demands. In this last episode, episode number 3, they, make their demands out. They have a manifesto. They actually kidnap someone's son in exchange for getting the son back. They are asking that magazines and newspapers or whatever publications that normally have scantily clad women on them now have scantily clad men on them now. And it's kind of like a role reversal and flipping the switch and everything. That's the overall what's happening in the background. But more on a smaller and personal scale, the main character is a woman who goes by the name of Plum. She is overweight, and she works for a fashion magazine that caters to everything that women are told that they are supposed to be. Part of the magazine company or whatever has a beauty closet, and I've never worked anywhere that has a beauty closet, but because it is a fashion magazine, it kind of makes sense. It's an area where people can go to get basically free beauty products from their employer. So if you need to get perfume, if you need to freshen up your mascara so that you look good at work, those type of things, the beauty closet is there for you, which is cool, if you're into makeup or whatever. But the beauty closet is kind of the beginning of how Plum gets involved with changing her perspective. And because I have not read the book and because I have not seen the full series and it is not out yet, a lot of the pieces don't necessarily connect together. The woman who is over the beauty closet is somehow connected to Jennifer, but we don't necessarily know. The intern of the woman who is over the beauty closet is connected as well. We don't necessarily know how that is going. We do know that the main character, Plum, writes an advice column. She's a ghostwriter of an advice column that is supposed to be written by Kitty, who is the like head honcho CEO of all of the women's portions of that magazine companies. And she is about image and all that type of stuff. She's very slim, and even though she is an older woman, she cannot age being in the beauty industry. So she clearly has had things done to her and is very into makeup and fashion and those things. Um, and one of Kitty's friends is a news anchor who kind of keeps Kitty in the loop about certain things that are going on involving the fashion world and whatnot. But let's get into my thoughts. That's enough about the background. There's so many facets of the story that it's hard to explain the summary. The way that Plum gets involved in this whole mess is that the woman who's over the beauty closet, whose name I cannot remember right now, um, asks Plum for a favor. Because Plum is a ghostwriter for Kitty's advice column, the lady that's over the beauty closet asks Plum to give her all of the email addresses for young women who have been writing into Kitty asking for advice. And for whatever reason, Plum does it, and the magazine hires a detective to see who handed out that information. And the detective has kind of taken up with Kitty, and he becomes a part of the story. She kind of sees him as a love interest that can never happen. Later on, we find out he's actually married with kids, but and he also was forced to resign from the police department, so he's like doing his own little detective private agency thing right now. But moving on, I feel as if I really identify with the Plum character because she, in a lot of ways, punishes herself for not having the body that she feels is expected of her. And as a person who has been basically plus sized my whole life, I can totally understand that. The things that she says in the show about how she's not happy in her body and how she doesn't want to apologize to, the person who sits next to her on an airplane, and how she wants to somebody to flirt with her, and just there are all these assumptions that people make about people who are overweight. Being overweight is not something that is seen as beautiful. It's not something that is seen as desirable. And I 100% get Plum's, um, of her feelings. Um, I think the bigger picture, though, for the whole show is about how women have to operate in this space where they have to be overly cautious about everything that they do, and men can go out and do whatever they want to do with almost no repercussions. And it goes to show that even some women have their hand in supporting rape culture because some of the stuff is so ingrained um, in us that we inadvertently support it, such as maybe like victim blaming. In this past episode, the guy who tried to push up on a lady that was in line behind Plum, and he was saying, oh, she's if she doesn't want this type of attention, she shouldn't dress this way. And the girl was covered up like from head to toe, wearing a jacket, a shirt, no cleavage, no nothing. And the other women around him checked him on it and basically said, you need to back off, you need to get out of here. And the whole Jennifer thing, the fact that she is killing people who are known and have gotten off regarding, improper um, regarding, improper sexual relationships with women, relationships that were not consensual, relationships that were not age appropriate, um, things that promoted violence against women. I mean, it's really hard to explain my feelings. I like the show. I feel like it is very weird, very strange, kind of trippy, but the overall message is very interesting. It's almost like a fantasy land of flipping the script on men because I don't think a lot of men understand what feminism really is about. Um, Men have something that's inside of them that has been ingrained in them about them being um, domineering, about them being dominant over women. And I feel like if in your house you have something with your spouse or whoever, if you have an understanding in your relationship that your husband is the head of the household and you follow his lead, cool. That's cool. If you have that shared understanding with your spouse, that's fine within your household. But when it comes to being in the workplace, when it comes to politics and making policies, that's not going to fly. Whatever you do in your household about the man being the head of the household, that's in your house. But in the real world, if I have as much education and experience as you, I should earn as much, you know what I'm saying? And women being encouraged to step into different fields like the STEM fields and becoming doctors and engineers and mathematicians and things along those lines. Not saying that traditional roles that are traditionally female, such as teachers or homemakers, I'm not saying any of those things are not important, but one of the issues with equal pay and the statistics that are on that are because a lot of women fall into categories of professions that typically don't make as much as other occupations. I hope I'm making sense. So what I'm saying is if a lot of women are in education, we know teachers don't make a lot of money. And if all the men are in technology and they're making six figures, there's definitely going to be a pay imbalance. So what we need to do is balance the scales and have as many men and women in technology fields the same way we need as many men and women in fields such as education or things that are not as high paying. But moving on from that, I feel like I'm all over the place with this because this show makes me feel so many different feelings. On one hand, I really identify with Plum and her feelings about how being overweight equates to her being unhappy. She's not happy with the way people look at her. She's not happy with her love life, and she essentially punishes herself and prevents her from finding love because she's not in the body that she wants to be in. And I totally 100% get that because as a plus size person, I have felt more often than I can really remember that I was not deserving of love until I had the body that a, a guy could love. Um, when and all the while I was depriving myself of having a better relationship with myself, higher self-esteem and all those type of things. And the fact that I am in a relationship and have been in a relationship for 3.5 years with somebody who really loves me, um, literally through thick and thin. And even though we are on our way to living a healthier lifestyle, just because we want to, and exercising and eating better are healthier for you and can help you live longer, and developing good habits so that we don't pass down any bad habits down to our future children and things along those lines. Just living a more active lifestyle because we want to, but we're doing it together and we are in love with each other, and we're making big moves with each other and that type of thing. I probably never would have thought that I could be in love with someone and at the same time be as big as I am, because a lot of people equate being overweight with being undesirable and unattractive, and that's just not true. And when you feel as if society looks at you as if you are a pariah, you are an anomaly, nobody's going to love you, nobody's going to want to be with you. And if they are with you, they're only with you because they have a fetish and they want to watch you eat chocolate cake and feed you all the time. And, those were the thoughts that I had. So I can 100% understand where Plum is coming from. Um, Juliana Margulies' character, Kitty, is very interesting as well. I'm under the impression that she is a part of Jennifer. Um, just my own personal thoughts. But I don't know. I mean, Juliana Margulies' character the is basically the picture of what a woman has to do to be relevant and stay on top. And nobody cares if Steve Jobs wear the same clothes every day because he's a man with money. And one of the things that I found out about Steve Jobs was that he was a deadbeat dad. Does nobody know that? It's like we had read a study on Steve Jobs that when the mother of his oldest child had her baby, he denied the baby for a couple years until the DNA test came back and proved that he was the father of the child. Um, yeah, he was a deadbeat. Um, but nobody cares because he was a rich guy who, invented some technology and was eccentric and all that jazz. But as a woman, you have to have the full package. Not only do you have to be ruthless and cutthroat to get to the top, not only do you have to work 3 times as hard to get half as much, but you also have to look good doing it. You have to not complain about it. You have to wear those high heels and stay skinny and not get caught eating. you know, Being a woman is so much more difficult than a lot of people realize, particularly men. And it's a little bit refreshing to watch a show where in the show, women are regaining control and regaining power, even though it's coming through an extremist group, to see that the men are afraid of being dropped out of the sky and landing on, a patio table. And where a woman says, I went for a midnight run in New York. Like, where does that ever happen where a woman can go for a midnight run in New York City and not be, attacked or something like that? I feel as if only men could feel what women went through, maybe things would be a little bit better, because people who are in power always have a fear that the people who are below them are going to take over. And that's one of the reasons why women's rights hasn't gotten as far as it should get, because men are too afraid to let women run anything, because things are going to change. And if women take over, men feel as if they will be subordinate. And we're not asking to rule the world. We're asking to be equal, equal parts. Like, the world is like 50-50 with men and women. And so when it comes to being in power and having influence and that type of stuff, it should be 50-50, because that's proportionate. We're asking for equal rights. We're not asking to be, the new majority, okay? But moving on, these are just my thoughts. And y'all, these thoughts are just scattered all over the place. There's really no rhyme or reason. I didn't take any notes or anything. I just think that this show is very interesting. It's very odd. The cartoons are odd. The whole process that Verena, I think is her name, is going through, the fact that her mother put on a program that Plum was a part of, the Baptist method, about all the rules to eating, and now her daughter is trying to help correct some of that stuff, and Plum is um, Verena is worried that Plum is going to kind of lose control throughout this whole process, and then Plum not wanting to go through with it, and then the detective telling her that she should go through with it to get some more intel on Verena and whatnot. It's just a very odd show that makes me feel a lot of feelings about a lot of different things. And I really think that if you are not watching it, you should definitely check it out. Not that I have explained the storyline so well, but there's so many different storylines going on. You just have to watch it for yourself. Um, but tell me what you think. I didn't want this to be too long. Just tell me what you think. Like, comment, and subscribe to this video. And I thank you guys so much for watching. Peace out, Mom Slices.